Hey, welcome to the Simple Man's Workshop. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cut butcher block countertop. I've got these two pieces left over from a project. I'm going to show you how to cut them with a skill saw and how to cut them with a table saw. And then I'm also going to show you how to take a router and do a little bit of a roundover to clean them up if that's what you want to do. So on the screen now will be the tools you need to complete this project. First, I'm going to show you how to cut this with the table saw. It's as simple as setting your rip fence at the distance you want to set it at, setting your blade about a 1/4 inch higher than what the material is. And I've got a 40-tooth blade on my table saw right now, which is a little bit finer cut blade. It'll give a smoother cut on the edge. The importance of safety is also a factor in cutting anytime. I've got OSHA certified glasses. I've got hearing protection here. So now that we have all this set, all we'll do is put our hearing protection in. I've got my glasses on. My rip fence is set. The blade is set at the proper height. And now I'm just going to turn it on. Let the saw come to a complete stop. Now I'm going to show you how to cut the other direction. Now I'm going to show you how to cut it with a skill saw. I've got a large framing square, a pencil, a couple of clamps, and I've got my skill saw. So what we're going to do, I've got it off of the table with these pieces of wood underneath it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this to the outside edge here. Make sure this is flush holding against it. This line is not correct or flush because this is what I cut off on the other project. So I want to make sure I get a square edge. So I line this up right here flush, and by doing that, I can put a line right down through here. Now that's where I want to cut. I've got my skill saw. It's unplugged right now. I've got my guard pulled back with the clamp. The reason I've got that is so when I set the skill saw down, I've set the depth to where the blade is just on top of it. That way, if you look right there, you can see I can line that blade up on that pencil line right there. So once I line that blade up on that pencil line, I can take this straight edge right here, slide it right into here, hold it in place, set that saw out of the way, slide this clamp right here in place, and clamp it down so that I have a rip fence to cut a good straight cut on. So I'll tighten that one down. Then I'll come back here, same way, line up on the back side with that saw blade and that pencil mark, line that fence up, hold it in place, get my other clamp, slide it right in here like this, make sure everything looks good, tighten it down. Come back and check it one more time. That saw blade looks good. That saw blade looks good on that pencil mark. So now we're going to get ready to cut. So now I'm going to take this clamp and I'm going to actually put it right here. I'm going to use my flat part of this so I won't put a dent in the material. So I'm just going to do this to hold it in place while I'm running the saw so my material won't move across my workbench. So that's just going to hold the material in place. All right, I've got the saw. I've got the guard closed. Now I'm going to set the height of this. The best way to do it is let the guard touch down. So now it's touched down. As long as I've got the guard down and it's not touching my workbench, I'm not going to cut into my workbench. So I've locked it in place. So now all I'm going to do is lift the guard up, stay out of the way of it, get over here, butt my saw against the rip fence, and then make the cut. Go through it nice and easy, not real fast. That'll keep anything from chipping out real bad. We're going to sand it in a little bit. But that's a nice, clean, straight cut right there. So I'm going to take all this off. What I'm actually doing is going to cut this side and then cut it in half. And I'm actually going to make two real nice actual butcher block cutting blocks out of this. You're going to see it moving fast forward. I'm going to take this off, flip it around, make another cut, and then I'm going to cut it in the center also. All right, now I got both pieces cut separately, and they should both be pretty close to identical size. Now I'm going to do some sanding on them, and then I'll show you how to round over the edges. Both tops are ready to be sanded. I've got 220 sandpaper on my palm sander. I'm going to sand the edges around it, and then the front and back of both of them. So let me get started. All right, so I got both of them nice and sanded. I'm going to get my router now and put my 1/8" roundover bit on and put a roundover all the way around this thing to make it look like a really nice cutting block. All right, I've got my router. It's got an 1/8" roundover bit on it. I've got it set to the depth I need to. So all I got to do is turn this thing on and run it around the edge, flip it over and run it around again. All right, I've got this one done. Now I've got to sand it again. The roundover needs to be sanded somewhat. I'm going to do the second one and I'll sand it again and I'll show you in a second what it looks like. I finished sanding it real nice. The roundovers came out great. The edges, everything sanded up nice and smooth all the way around it. Looks like a great cutting block. Now all you got to do is get a product that you can apply to the top of it, like a beeswax or a mineral oil. All that does is treat the block and it'll help keep bacteria from building up into it. These cutting blocks came out beautiful. I'm glad I was able to show you how to cut butcher block like this. I know I made cutting blocks, but you can use these same methods to cut your countertops if you buy butcher block countertops. If you're going to cut out a sinkhole or something, you use the same thing, but you can use a jigsaw with a fine-tooth blade and it'll cut out a sinkhole just fine. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.